Listen, boss, I don't want to take any more company time talking about religion.
Consider it a business lesson.
A business lesson? What does business have to do with religion?
You'll see.
This is the bookkeeping department. What does bookkeeping have to do with salvation?
Here comes my bookkeeper. She will answer your question about salvation.
I didn't ask a question. I merely said that faith without works is dead. How is a bookkeeper going to add anything to a conversation about salvation?
Our bookkeeper is not only a whiz with numbers, she's also an expert on Greek and Hebrew.
You're not making any sense.
Good morning, Chief.
You got a minute?
Sure, what's up?
Our friend here seems to think that faith alone is not enough to get a person into heaven.
She needs a lesson in bookkeeping.
That's what I said.
Is this whole company going nuts?
Tell her what you told me.
The language of salvation was written in bookkeeping language.
You're crazy.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm quite sane. In the Hebrew language that described Abraham's salvation in the book of Genesis, Moses used a bookkeeping term.
He did?
Yes.
I'll bet I know what it says. I'll bet it says that Abraham purchased his salvation. Or was salvation sold to him from God for good works?
Sorry to disappoint you, but the language suggests neither a sale nor a purchase, but a transfer of assets.
A transfer of assets?
You better tell our non-technical friend what that means.
It means that no goods or services were rendered in the transaction. The Bible says that when Abraham believed God, righteousness was transferred to his account.
Oh, come on. Are you saying that Abraham didn't have to do anything to get righteousness?
Not according to the bookkeeping language of the transaction.
It's like going into your bank and finding out that the bank president transferred money to your account without a deposit slip.
That's unbelievable.
Tell her about the transfer of assets that Jesus made on the cross.
Oh, come on. I may not know my Old Testament, but I know that Jesus never said anything about bookkeeping on the cross.
No. But he did use a bookkeeping term.
What bookkeeping term?
Just before he died, Jesus said, to tell estate, which is the exact wording bookkeepers use to mark an invoice as paid in full.
In other words, the creator of the universe, who credited Abraham's account with righteousness, now also does a transfer of assets into the accounts of everyone who believes.
Paid in full. That's the language he used.
That's amazing.
Isn't it though?
Then what about works? If it's just a transfer, what do the works pay for?
They don't pay for anything. Think about it. If I suddenly transferred a couple of $1,000s to your pay envelope on payday for no reason, wouldn't you feel a little gratitude?
Or at least a little obligation.
Yes. Yes, I suppose I would. So what?
The point is that your gratitude or sense of obligation would cause you to act differently. Wouldn't it?
Sure, I suppose.
But any works you decided to do out of gratitude would come after the transfer, not before. Any works you did would be the result of the transfer, not the cause of it.
Oh, I see. But what about when James says, faith without works is dead?
James addressed his letter to people who called themselves believers. That means they had already received the transfer of assets from Jesus.
That's right. James referred to his readers as brothers. He's saying that the lack of works indicates a lack of gratitude or obligation.
The point of his letter was to suggest that, if a person has no sense of gratitude or obligation, perhaps he didn't receive the transfer of assets after all. Perhaps he should re-examine the depth of his belief.
No belief, no transfer.
Oh, I guess I've got the tail wagging the dog.
That's what happens when you don't know about bookkeeping language.
So, do you still think you can buy your salvation with works?
No, of course not. But tell me more about all this money you're going to transfer to my pay envelope.
Based on a play by Bob Snook.
Conditions for use: do not sell any part of this script, even if you rewrite it. Pay no royalties, even if you make money from performances.
You may reproduce and distribute this script freely, but all copies must contain this copyright statement.